Welcome to Super Movie Brothers. Let's start the show.
This is a podcast on the Podfix Network. You can check out more shows like it at podfixnetwork.com.
Welcome to Super Movie Brothers, episode 111. I'm your host, Super Movie Brother Dave.
I'm your host, Super Movie Brother Jay.
Jay, this week's episode is a palindrome. It is numbered the same forward as it is backwards. No matter how you slice number 111, it's exactly the same. You can even take the middle, put it in the front, and it's still episode 111.
Yes, it is. Happy to be here.
Yeah. So, me and you haven't gotten together for about 2 weeks now, because last week we had our movie cocktail, which we actually recorded 2 weeks prior to that. So, we got a little bit to catch up on just with you and I, even though it's kind of nice, because really nothing came out in the theaters that we were terribly interested in seeing, and no decent news came out that we were terribly interested in talking about. So,
it was a perfect timing vacation from each other and away from our lives.
Oh, anytime I don't spend with you is actually good time. Yeah.
So we both went to the shore, right?
Sort of.
You went up north, I went up south.
You went to the shore.
South.
You went to the shore for like a full proper week. Me and Lauren spent 2 days at the beach. That's not a vacation,
and with
Jay.
unfortunate weather.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what did you do on your shorecation?
Well, I left after work Thursday evening to go down to my cousin's place down in Ocean City, New Jersey, and it was a perfect kind of stepping stone into my full-blown family vacation down on Rehoboth Beach, Delaware. His place was much more just straight-up shore, jet skiing, drinking, in-house eating. That's it. You're not going out anywhere else. It's just pretty much really low-key, real chill, but it was still a nice, really good time. Had a lot of little dramatic things happen during the jet skiing incidences, as far as, pulling some people on a tube and getting it tied up in a jet ski and having to fucking push that thing from rolling, or not rolling, but like just floating out into sea from the inlet all the way around until we got saved by a fisher on a boat, just chilling, drinking Coronas with his girl, and he had a sharp ass knife that just cut through rope like no other.
This knife will cut.
It was
will kill.
Impressive, I'll tell you. And but that was a good hour process trying to do that. But
Would you like to know more?
Anyway,
can I tell you? You tell the best stories.
I try to rush through them. I don't like telling stories. Everybody knows this. I hate storytelling.
Just start ending them in some shocking fashion, and then he killed us.
Well, that's the thing. My cousin said the same thing. He's like, look, I sliced my fingertip wide open from trying to swim in too shallow of water and slit my fingertip open from a shell on the bottom of the ocean. So he's like, that's the worst story ever. You gotta say when you're out with my goddaughter and her friend on the jet ski, you're out in the ocean and there was a shark and you just batted it away and you just nipped its tooth on
but what I mean
fingertip.
is, like, you don't paint a picture when you tell a story. You just state facts. You're like the BBC, man. Like, you just state the facts. It's
the same thing with writing. I am so short and sweet and to the point with writing. I am not a descriptive writer. It's probably why I don't like reading.
So we were on the jet ski and
I don't understand people who talk too much.
The rope got tangled up. It was tough. Took us an hour. Guy, sharp knife. Cut it.
Look, I get it.
Free.
Like, but see, I'm more of a person that likes experiences and like internalizing them, I guess. I'm not a storyteller.
How do you internalize a story about your struggles with a wayward jet ski?
It's within me and the people that I was with, and that's our story. We know it. I got my cousin who can tell the story a hell of a lot better than I can. That's what he does for a living. He's a talker. He's in sales. And I am not.
All right, man. Well,
but down in Delaware, we had a great time. We were just out and about doing all kinds of stuff with food. Getting a lot of good food. This one restaurant in particular, our last night we went to was called Two Seas Restaurant in Dewey Beach, Delaware. It is a family-owned restaurant. It's a massive place. It's 3 stories high. They have the most beautiful, massive golden retriever. It's just the best restaurant. I love that place so much.
What was the doggy's name? How many health code violations are they violating by having a dog walking around the dining room floor?
I don't know, but I don't think that's the thing. Like the place, they don't care. It's all local knowledge. There's no promotion. They don't have a menu out anywhere online. Okay. It's a very chill, low key kind of place where you feel like you're in their home, almost like a bed and breakfast type of feel kind of thing. It's kind of the thing that they go for. But anyway, so I was down there for the first time with my parents, my sister, and for the first time, her fiance and his 3 young kids. It actually worked out pretty well. We were really, really nervous about that. And the kids overall pretty much did a pretty good job keeping themselves in check and not having any kind of behaviors or any kind of issues or anything too dramatic happen. And it went really well. I mean, my parents and the kids went to sleep, stayed in like around 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, and Brian, Julie, and myself went out and hit the town, and we're able to just have a good time, enjoy each other, and catch up. And we don't really get to have, I guess, alone time to kind of dive into our personal lives about like what's going on, this and that, and have a good time and just talk and catch up because with the kids and the families and stuff around, things just get a little washed up. And then I got back and it's been rough, man. Just trying to get back like mentally into like a normal state of mind as far as with work, and I'm starting school tomorrow, for fuck's sake. That's a nightmare. And my father's getting a shoulder replacement surgery tomorrow, so that's a big nightmare too, because he's going to take a month until he can sip out of a cup. I mean, it's a serious surgery, so it's going to be a lot of labor, love in the household, and doing a lot of extra chores and
hiding in helping him with
helping him with I don't know what, to be honest.
CJ, if you didn't live at home, you wouldn't have to worry about it. Your dad could have a shoulder surgery and be like, God, that sucks.
No, I would still
totally not going to come over for the next month.
Yeah. Not my parents. If I'm remotely within an hour's drive, I think I would have to be there.
Fair enough, man. Well, all of those stories that you just ran together in one run-on sentence,
you're welcome,
are riveting. Just riveting.
What a story, Mark. I'm so happy I have you as my best friend.
We're all here for you, Dave, so don't worry. We're just trying to get through my stories to get to yours.
I don't really have a story. Me and Lauren went to Long Beach Island. My aunt has a condo there. She was nice enough to let us spend a couple days there. So we went there on Saturday night. We didn't get there till like 11 o'clock. Saturday was a beautiful day. It would have been a great day for the beach. Sunday was dreary and miserable and rainy all morning. It was like 70 degrees.
I was so happy that was my driving time from New Jersey down to Delaware.
Yeah, it was like the morning started off like 50, 60 degrees. I think the max that day was like low 70s, but the sun came out. So me and Lauren went to the beach for like 3 hours. And then Long Beach Island, it's a cool, small, like island town, and that's what it's like Amity Island, like what you picture Amity Island as in Jaws. That's what Long Beach Island is. And we went, but there's basically one like little place in Beach Haven. It's a bunch of shops and restaurants and stuff like that, and that's where me and Lauren spent most of our free time, because that's where Ship Bottom Brewery is. So we went to Ship Bottom Brewery twice, actually. We went there twice, and I had a major problem. I don't know what it is, but I just was leaving things everywhere. Like I bought a book, and then we went to the brewery, and I left the book at the brewery, and I had to go back the next day. Luckily, it was in the Lost and Found. We went to dinner at this place called the Black Whale. It was overly priced for what it was. It wasn't fantastic, but it was nice. It was still like a nice place. We got to sit outside looking over the bay and stuff like that. And they had a halfway decent beer selection, but there was another place that everyone was telling me I needed to go. Like, it was called Triton, and it's a place where like they have like 32 different beers on tap, and you go in and everything is like, it's like a deli counter. Like, you walk up, but everything is prepared like right there in front of you, and then you take it back to your seat with your beer, and it's like a very like just kind of like bar/deli atmosphere. And I wanted to go, but it was more like quick and go food. So Lauren really just wanted to have like a sit down meal together.
Right.
So we ended up going to this place around the corner, and I ended up leaving my sunglasses and credit card there. Like I was just leaving shit everywhere. I don't know like where my mind is. I feel like there's just holes just slowly being eaten in my brain, and I don't even huff glue, but it's just what's happening. And I just said, fuck.
Has that been happening more and more? Or is that just this weekend?
No, well, recently, like the past month, like
wow.
that. Yeah, like I've just been forgetting like little things. Like Lauren's like, "Did you pay your bills?" And I was like, "When?" And she's like, "You just got paid. Did you pay your bills?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I go to pay my bills, and I was like, "Oh shit, I didn't pay my bills from the last time I got paid. I'm like 2 bill cycles behind." So like I had to like make all these payments like real quick. Luckily, like because I didn't make the payments, we had the money for me to make the payments and stuff, and I didn't have incur any late fees or anything. But like I was narrowly, getting there. So yeah, I've just been getting like real fucking forgetful.
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
But yeah, so we spent most of our time at Ship Bottom Brewery, and absolutely just a wonderful, charming place. Like I loved it. The first day we went there, it was packed, wall to wall people, because it was fucking pouring rain outside.
Right.
So everybody was just like pile inside, drink some good beers. And they do have really good beers. They had a Snoop Dogg key lime pie beer that Lauren loved, that she got the first day that we were there. And the keg was actually kicked the next day. And then the next one they're coming out with is The Dude toasted coconut porter, but it's a toasted coconut like cream pie, like porter.
Wow.
And it's coming out in September. So Lauren's like, "Can we go back just so I can drink that beer?" So I was like, yeah, absolutely. Because I loved the place. I loved the atmosphere. I loved the people that were serving me beer. And that's the most important thing for me. Like when I go to places, so we talk about in the Chamonix Creek, how we do like their beers, but we're not crazy about their atmosphere. We're not crazy about the people who work behind the counter. They're not personable.
It's always something.
Broken Goblet, who we love, even though we don't always love all of their beers, we love them because like it's just such a wonderful atmosphere. I just love going there. It's so friendly.
Yeah, they're the people.
Yeah, and that's the way this was. It was Broken Goblet in a shore town, and it was fantastic. I had every beer on the menu twice because we went on Sunday, and then we went again on Monday, and we left on Tuesday morning.
Fantastic.
But we were able to go to the beach for I think like a total of like 4 or 5 hours. But the one day, dude, the waves were like fucking killer. But most of the time that we were there,
I think there was a shark in LBI waters around that area.
You go in the water, sharks in the water. Our shark.
I bought you a shirt that says "Don't eat me, Mary Lee."
Yes, you did.
Mary Lee is the great white shark that can be.
Because we were watching the sharks in the Jersey shoreline.
Yeah, you can track Mary Lee, the great white shark.
Mm-hmm.
You can track her up and down the northeastern seaboard. You can go. She has a website, and her radio tracker pings like every 2 or 3 hours. She goes up to Puget Sound. She goes out to Long Island. She goes outside of LBI. She goes all the way down to like Cape May, and usually turns around and then goes back up because there's a lot of seals. I mean, people don't realize, but there's a lot of seals that like hang out on barrier islands. We don't see them because they don't hang out on beaches that people hang out on. But yeah, she's usually about half mile out. But sometimes like it's real close. Like she comes in real fucking close. But so far, Mary Lee has not eaten anybody. So you can check out Mary Lee, the Great White Shark. So yeah, that's why I got you that shirt. Don't eat me, Mary Lee.
No, I know. I love it.
And I bought myself this sweet Long Beach Island Jaws shirt.
It's a really good one.
Yeah, and it says Mary Lee at the bottom.
Yeah.
So I love it. So yeah, we did wind up having a good time. I think just being at the beach is just a good time. Like, it is
itself. Just being there in that vicinity, sucking up the salt air.
Yeah, not having anything to do. Waking up, having my coffee, having my breakfast.
I think I had too many days of it though, David.
And then like at 2:00 in the afternoon, just being like, it's okay to start drinking beer now.
Oh, it is.
Until I go to bed. That's fine.
Pretty much 11:00 a.m.
Yeah, exactly.
It kind of just starts to become like, yeah, I think it's okay now.
Yeah. So other than that, man, after I came back, I was able to do a guest spot on an episode of Who Spiked the Puns. Fuzzy D was away for a week, so I joined our buddy John, and I did a guest spot with him where we did a mashup for The Evil Dead and Dead Poets Society for an episode that will be entitled The Evil Dead Poets Society. So
I'm sure you guys loved that one.
Oh, it was a blast. It was a blast.
Yeah.
It was so much fun. And I of course love going and revisiting revisiting The Evil Dead.
And Dead Poets.
And first time watching Dead Poets Society.
Oh, really?
First time, yeah.
I feel like you would like that movie.
I did really enjoy it. And like Lauren hated it. And while watching it, I was like, yeah, this is oddly a very manly movie. Like, this is a manly movie.
Yes.
Like, this is a movie that was made for men who can relate to growing up in that seminal moment in their lives and stuff like that. There's not a
That's
gun.
true.
I mean, I guess there is technically a gunshot fired, but you don't hear it. But it's not a war movie. It's not an action movie. There's no big muscles, but there's just something about it that is just resonates like with men. I enjoyed that like a lot. And then of course now on Blu-ray, Avengers Infinity War came out on Blu-ray, so I've watched that several times now. Still having a blast watching that. And then of course there's also Deadpool 2, which came out, which I don't always have a blast watching. The second time I watched it, I was only okay with it. Like, I enjoyed it the first time I watched it.
Just kind of go with the motion with it.
And I said, I knew it. I knew, like, after I watched that in the theater, I was not going to have as much fun revisiting that as I was the first one.
Let me ask you this, because I only saw it the one time in theater. The second time watching it, do you feel like it's just excessively dialogue heavy, but even there's nothing going on within the scene enough that's enjoyable to watch?
Excuse me a sec. What are you babbling about?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
You know that you watch that movie for one character, so who cares what's going on in the scene? Because you're watching it for Ryan Reynolds chewing up the scenery. That's all you're watching it for. So you don't care what's going on anywhere else.
But that's the thing.
He is literally the focal point of every frame in the movie. Like,
I understand, but if visually there's nothing else going on in the scene other than the words that are coming out of their mouths, it can get kind of boring on repeat viewings.
No, it was the jokes that I found boring. It was the fact that I didn't find it as funny as the original one.
Okay.
And had nothing to do with the background. I don't what background? What are you talking about?
The things that are going on in the scene. I'm just saying. I was just curious to see. I was trying to understand what didn't hold up in the second.
Describe a film where there's so much going on in the background that you don't care what's going on in the foreground. Describe that movie.
No foreground, background. It's the same thing. That's what I meant. Like on screen, what was going on? Was there just not much going on that was entertaining to watch that balanced out all the heavy dialogue with all the jokes and all the puns and all that random stuff?
That the jokes just weren't as funny this time.
Okay.
That's what it is. I don't.
All right. I was just curious.
It's not like the prison guards in the prison scene were like gang raping some guy in the background. And I'm like, I never saw that before. Like, what are you talking about?
All right. So we got it down to it just wasn't written well.
Isn't that a little derivative?
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not as solid as the original.
All right.
What did you watch this week, man?
Well, I mostly just finished up watching Sharp Objects on HBO. They just finished the series finale. It is only 8 episodes.
That's the one with Amy Adams. She returns to like her hometown.
Yes.
Investigative journalism.
Yes. And
Go.
It's really, really done well. It's directed in such a great way where you feel the place, you feel the setting, you feel the nuances, the untold glances, and with the characters' feelings, and then also you get these weird flashes from flashbacks of the certain character, mostly played by Amy Adams, when she was a child, and it almost plays out like I said before in a previous podcast, like you're reading a book, like how certain kind of descriptive writing will bring back and reference certain things previous in a character's life. And this is directed by Jean-Marc Vallée, who also has done Dallas Buyers Club and Wild. And he is actually, we'll be talking about him a little bit later, but this guy has a real talent for really bringing out some really raw drama moments.
I'm sorry, did you say drawl?
Well, a little southern drawl, maybe.
Oh, you mean that type? I thought you meant like droll, like
no.
Okay.
And
how very droll.
It finishes in such a perfect way, but I have to say, you have to watch the credits after the series finale. Watch the credits, trust me. But anyway, even still, the final 3 words is so perfect for the whole show and how it ends with a bang. It was a really, really.
Final 3 words. I just farted.
Highly enjoyable show. I would really love to revisit that again.
Now that all 8 episodes are out, I might watch it.
You should. And then also, I am just finishing up season 1 of The Handmaid's Tale. Thank you, Dave, for Hulu. And I am thoroughly enjoying it, even though it is thoroughly haunting and scary and frightening and just fucking so, God, you could just see the parallels with like today's society and how that could.
No.
It wouldn't happen. No. It couldn't happen. But I'm just saying how it could potentially happen in like a slightly gray zone sci-fi world.
I do believe that there are some political groups where that is their dream world. Yeah. But
absolutely.
Could I see it happening? No.
Well, not really. But that's the thing. I know people that have that mindset.
Cool.
And it's not cool.
You are that guy.
I am so not.
You would
that guy.
love to be the guy to be married to a woman, but then get to pitch it into some other chick to make your babies.
That's different. No, I don't want babies. No, it's almost like heavily conservative kind of mindset that is like old money.
But yeah, it is. There are some like minor parallels and stuff like that. But I think more or less like what I find
Donald Trump would love this world. That's
the parallel. Yeah,
yes.
that's what they're getting at. But I mean, one of the things I find fascinating is like they talk about now that there's like these colonies and stuff. But what I find more fascinating is like this is how the one colony like handles this situation. Other places don't handle it. Canada does not handle it that way. Other places in the United States do not handle it that way. It's only this one enclave in New England that handles it that way, where, go figure, the rich aristocrats were living before. So,
well, not even just that. I don't think it's just the state. I think it's the whole Northeast.
Right, it's Northeast. Right.
Yeah.
So it is an interesting show. I'm not as crazy about it as other people are, though. Other people are like, this show's so. I find a lot of episodes really fucking boring.
Well, it can be. It's just so dark. It's so depressing, but it's so well done and so well made, and
yeah.
You get into it. I mean, with the characters, it's just, and it's really well acted. Elizabeth Moss, I mean, I liked her in Mad Men, but my God, she is an actress. Whoo, boy. Yeah, she can really deliver some exceptional performances.
All right, man. Well, hope you enjoyed us talking about the things that we watched this week. We're going to head over and we're going to do 2 5-minute reviews for 2 films that I was able to catch over the past week. I saw the Happytime Murders and Crazy Rich Asians. All right, now it's time to get into 2 5-minute reviews. I'm going to start this off with the Happytime Murders.
I love singing and dancing. Hiya, folks.
For 50 cents, I'll suck your dick.
Hey, handsome.
You looking for some rotten cotton?
I'm a woman. That's okay.
Yeah, that's even better.
Got a good time for you.
We're gonna catch the bastards who did these murders. Because bodies are gonna start piling up.
You're one of the best damn cops I've ever seen.
I'll have your badge for this. I'm in the fucking FBI.
Oh, yeah? What's that stand for? Fucking big idiot?
So this is a film that was directed by Brian Henson, obviously of the son of Jim Henson. And this is what wound up stirring so much controversy over this film that caused the Jim Henson Company to actually sue the production of this film, to not get it made, for all these other reasons. And that is about as interesting as the story of the Happytime Murders gets. It stars Melissa McCarthy, Elizabeth Banks, Maya Rudolph, and a series of people who do voices for the puppets.
Okay.
So like while listening to it, I thought the person who was playing Detective Phil Phillips was like, I kept thinking like, God, he sounds familiar. But when I looked him up, I was like, oh, he actually isn't anybody that I am terribly familiar with. He is a Muppets actor. Like if you check his IMDb, he has been in The Muppets in 2011, The Muppets Most Wanted in 2014, Muppets from Space in 1999, Muppet Treasure Island in 1996. So it's like he is a Muppet actor. So I originally thought like when Jim Henson was making their lawsuit against this production, I originally had thought to myself like, why should this matter? You don't own puppets. You own a copyright on Muppets, but you don't own a copyright on all puppets. So why sue that? And then I never realized that it was being made by Brian Henson, and that the production was very heavily involved with taking people from the Jim Henson company into the production to make this film. And they used a lot of the way they designed their sets to move to use their puppets and stuff like that in the same way that a Jim Henson movie would. So now I kind of see why they sue. And in the end, they could have let this movie come out and it does nothing to hurt the Jim Henson company or the Muppets in any way, shape, or form, because it's just not interesting enough to hurt anything. If this movie came out and made gangbusters, I could see them being a little bit upset. But this movie is just not interesting whatsoever. So it's the story of a private investigator and former police officer, Phil Phillips, who begins to investigate the sequential murders of the cast of a beloved show called the Happytime Gang. Together with his former LAPD human partner, Detective Connie Edwards, they must dive deep into the puppet underworld to bring punishment to the perpetrator, all the while boringly bantering back and forth with one another. And that's exactly what this movie is. It is absolutely boring banter back and forth between Phil Phillips, the puppet, and Melissa McCarthy. And there's a few times where an action scene will occur, or they try to insert some sort of physical humor into it, and it just doesn't work. I was expecting something to be as inventive and as creative and as funny as like Team America World Police, and instead it's kind of like another Sausage Party. It's just
ouch.
Yeah, it's just kind of there, and where it's like, I understand why this exists. I understand that there's probably a market for this, and some people are walking away from this really getting a kick out of it, really enjoying it.
Humor is subjective. I mean,
right.
It's
for
not
me,
for everybody.
The dialogue is just so awful in it, right? Like I expected this fun banter between them to be fun, and it's not. It's just whatever, bitch. Like that's the type of banter that there is back and forth. Oh, go fuck yourself, you fluffy ass, like stuff like that. And you're like, this isn't funny.
It's pretty juvenile, yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is very juvenile. But I mean, that's not enough. I mean, I like juvenile things. I can laugh at juvenile things. But for some reason, just watching this, I never felt like I was 38 minutes into this film, and I looked at my watch, and I was aghast that I was only 30 minutes into this movie. I thought that I had been sitting there for at least an hour and 30, and I was coming to the end very soon. The pacing of the film is absolutely awful, let alone the dialogue. The pacing of the film is just awful. And none of the characters are interesting whatsoever.
Has he ever directed a movie before?
I mean, he's directed Muppet Christmas Carol and Muppet Treasure Island, so a lot of Muppet things. He directed some episodes of Dinosaurs. You remember that show?
Not the mama, not the mama, not the mama, not the mama, not the mama.
That is starting to bother me.
But mostly it's a series of TV directions. He really hasn't directed a film since 1996 with Muppet Treasure Island. So it's been some time. But I think it comes down to the writing in this as well. The writing is just not there. You want it to be punchy, poppy, fun. If they're going to be playing in this world, you don't want it to just be an allegory for racial divide, and that's really what it is. But they don't have, with puppets there, you don't have fun with it, right? Like, he's the first puppet detective ever on the LAPD, right? And but it's almost like they're treating it like it's like the 1940s or the 1950s, but it's not. It's contemporary. It's 2018. So it's just, there's something that's just lost in there. I'm not sure if they just wanted to be shocking as possible,
okay.
But then if that's what they wanted, they didn't take it they didn't take it far enough if they wanted to be shocking in that way. So I think some really poppy, witty dialogue, something that made it really stand out would have worked. But I'm not sure if Melissa McCarthy's really capable of that.
Interesting. So it's just like a flawed movie overall.
Oh, 100%.
In every category and every kind of aspect of the movie. It just missed.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I didn't find any moments of enjoyment. There were several moments where I was like, funny. but nothing where it like drew me back in and made me want to stick around and like, well, let's see where this goes. Let's find out who is committing the Happytime murders. Who cares?
All right.
Who cares? I didn't care. I didn't care whether Phil Phillips found himself in the end and, you know, made something of himself again instead of being a shitty PI on the outside of Chinatown. I didn't care if Melissa McCarthy got over, you know, her puppet racism and accepted Phil again. I didn't care. I didn't care about these characters' turns at all. If they both got ran over by a car and that's how the film ended, I would have been like, well, all right. Well, at least they did something bold with it. And that's the problem. You expected it to be something bold and it just isn't.
What else did you see, Dave?
So the other film that I saw was Crazy Rich Asians.
Right. We've been dating for over a year now, and I think it's about time people met my beautiful girlfriend. What about us taking an adventure east?
Like Queens?
Singapore, Colin's wedding. Don't you want to be my family?
I hardly know anything about them. Every time I bring them up, Nick changes the subject. Maybe his parents are poor and he has to send them money.
We'll take a bags and get you checked into first class.
Nick, we can't afford this. So your family is rich?
We're comfortable.
That is exactly what a super rich person would say.
So this
definitely
film
heard a lot about this movie.
So this film's like, I actually only saw it because of the hype behind it. Like the marketing for this was very little.
It's holding up well, box office wise, even throughout.
So like the marketing for it was, I only saw trailers for this in like 30-second things where it's like, it doesn't even give you like any story. It just shows a bunch of pictures and a guy and a girl holding each other and it just goes Crazy Rich Asians now in theaters. And that was it. And I was like, okay, what's that? And apparently like this is a novel that was quite popular that people really enjoyed. And now that it's a major motion picture, it's kind of like, it's like My Big Fat Greek Wedding, where it's like it finds its legs in week 2 and people, it spreads by word of mouth.
Sure.
And people go out there and start seeing it. So the word of mouth got me and I was like, all right, well, let's go check it out. It's a romantic comedy, something my wife can enjoy. And she did enjoy it. But it is the story of a first generation Chinese American woman who unknowingly falls in love with the heir to Singapore's most wealthy family, the Youngs. She's thrown into a lifestyles of the Asian aristocratic elite and must deal with her significant other's immediate family who believes that she is too much of an American banana for their Asian bachelor. And if you don't know what a banana is, that's yellow on the outside but white on the inside. Also known as a Twinkie in Harold and Kumar.
Wow.
Twinkie, yellow on the outside, white on the inside.
So, I mean, honestly, it's not a deep story at all. Like, you've seen tons
It's simple. It's a charming little romantic comedy that you've seen countless times with hundreds of other white people playing at the leads.
Exactly. And that's exactly it. Is that you've seen this story before. Like, you've seen the type of like Prince and a Pauper tale, the type of fish out of water story that this is, where it's a girl from, I don't want to say like humble beginnings, because she's a smart girl. She has a fantastic job. She's doing well for herself in life.
She's just an average girl.
Right. She's well off, but you know, this is the type of rich that like you and I, this is Bruce Wayne level fucking rich.
Billions of dollars.
Exactly. Like they own Singapore. Like they were the first family in Singapore and they bought everything up. And now everyone else who buys anything in Singapore is buying it from them. Yeah. So anyone else in Singapore who's rich is rich because of them. So it's like this type of dynasty that exists. And it's that type of rich that you and I would never understand. And especially the thing that really brings it in and it really makes you want to like that makes you interested is the setting and the characters and the culture, because it's not something
and the ending,
and it's
got to end with a good bang that you can kind of get behind and believe.
And it's a romantic comedy. It ends with the exact type of bang you expect it to fucking end
as long
with.
as it works.
It's a romantic comedy. It can't end in any other way, or else it would.
I know, but it still needs to deliver the punch, man. Or else they get there, but it depends on how hard the punch is, Dave.
So, I mean, for me, that's what really draws people in is like that cultural aspect, but it's not too different than any other white romantic comedy that you've seen. It's just that the setting and the demographic is slightly different. There are a few standout characters in it that really make you laugh and really earn it the moniker of romantic comedy. And there's a ton of other stuff that is, I wouldn't say dramatic, but it is heartfelt and it comes from a place of of insecurity and stuff like that. You know, when you are that rich, you're insecure about who you're letting into your family. And that's what it comes down to. But there's also this whole Asian culture of like, there is pressure and expectation on kids from the minute they are able to walk and talk. There is a pressure and expectation for them based on their status in the world, based on their status in the family. And to buck that is almost akin to being Amish and not returning from Rumspringa. You could be shunned by your family for going against their wishes and not falling in line and doing what is expected of you, because there's more than just you. You know, all of your actions and everything that you do, you don't just think about yourself in the selfish sense. You think about you think about how your actions not only have consequences for you, but for your family as well. So that when you think of like a family unit in this type of culture, it's much closer. It's a much more tight knit group than we have in our Western culture, where we are a little, probably say, more selfish in our actions and stuff like that. But there's also a flip side to that. When you have a kid act that rigid, eventually they break. So I mean, it doesn't do anything fancy. It doesn't do anything new. It just provides you the same story through a different looking glass is what it comes
through a different
down to.
lens, and it's still enjoyable and pretty well done, huh?
So it is pretty well done. I will say that. Like, I guess in the last segment when you were talking about, was there stuff going on in the background? Like, there's a ton of shit going on in the background, Jay. It must be rewatchable because there's so much shit going on in the background. It makes me want to fucking just drool. There's lavish parties and giant mansions, and like there's tons of extras and people doing stuff in the background. Sometimes it's funny stuff. And then there's also just like beautiful outdoor settings, beautiful beaches, beautiful, stuff. And it's all stuff that you and I could never hope to afford on our most expensive vacation. So there is stuff going on in the background, and it's bright, it's colorful because it takes place in Singapore, which is a very, up and coming world power city where a lot of business goes through there and stuff like that. So they have to cater to the elite, which means there's a whole lot going on that, we just don't see here in America.
No, it's cutting edge.
Exactly. For both of these films, I enjoyed Crazy Rich Asians far more than I enjoyed the Happytime Murders. However, I'm not like gushing over Crazy Rich Asians. I think like the media is, and like a lot of people are rushing out to see it and stuff like that.
It's good for culture, and it's a solid romantic comedy. That's it.
And it's a solid B.
Done.
It's a solid B.
Okay, cool.
Happytime Murders is a solid D- though. That is just, dude, I wanted to leave. Like we talked 2 weeks ago about, I'm sorry, 3 weeks ago now.
I don't think you've given a grade that low in a long time.
Dude, I just really disliked it. I don't know what it was. I don't know whether it was I was like in a bad mood or something, but I really wasn't. I went in there, I wanted to see this film. Like, I liked the idea. I liked the little bit of controversy that it stirred. I was fucking down with it. And I was like, but you have to come with something, even though you could say, yeah, it's original, but you got to come with something that's fun as well. You got to do something with that material. And they didn't. They just replaced shitty noir detective with a puppet. Like, that's all they did. And then, it seems like a concept that was rejected by MTV for a series. Like, I felt like that would have been like MTV late night series, where if it was on Adult Swim, it would have had some pop to it. It would have had something funny, something interesting with it. But nope, it's just so banal, Jay.
Banal.
Fucking banal. All right, Jay, we got a couple news stories that we're going to have to run over and get into.
Now it's time for the news.
All right, Jay, let's start off with you. What do you got for our news stories this week?
Well, Mr. Oscar Isaac took a meeting with Matt Reeves to play a role in his The Batman movie.
Oh,
we don't know what that might be.
Wouldn't it be great if he played the Black Mask? Because he
could do anything.
We just did the Red Hood, right? And I feel like Oscar Isaac plays a fantastic rage monster. I'm being forced to deal with a psychotic.
I'm telling you, it's exciting. And I love Oscar Isaac. I would love to see him in this movie, in this kind of property. And I think Matt Reeves, I'm so excited for this movie. I can't get over it. His script is being submitted in a month or so, and they're looking to shoot next summer. So it's right around the corner, Dave. They're starting the casting process now, I believe.
Sticking with the DC news, Hans Zimmer is returning to Warner Brothers and DC. He is going to be doing the score for Wonder Woman 1984. So welcome back, Hans. I can't wait for those muted tones and loud crescendos.
Hey, he's great at it. I love it.
Over on the Marvel end, Jay, we spoke about last time we did news 2 weeks ago that the Oscars was going to be adding pop film category, best pop film. Well, immediately Disney and Marvel came out and said, no, we don't want Black Panther being nominated for pop film. We want it nominated for best picture, period. And this is the exact type of shit I was saying was going to start happening.
Right.
People were going to feel slighted about their film being put into the pop category, even though it technically is a pop film. Yes, Black Panther has a ton of stuff to say about, the racial wealth gap, about a lot of, racial issues that still exist in our society today. Much like most of those dour indie movies that you love so much, Jay. It has all those things in it, and it manages to throw a few explosions in your face and have a ton of fun with its material. But it's not a best picture, Jay. It's a best pop picture, and Disney doesn't agree with that. That should just be up for best picture. And I tend to actually agree with Disney on this one and Marvel that is a film that could be up for best picture and stand toe to toe with some of those movies.
Look, this is way too premature to be talking about this because we haven't seen the awards movies yet. I mean, we still have so many more months to.
But if they don't start,
so many more movies to start.
But if they don't start promoting it now, and they don't start, lobbying for their film now,
I don't mind that they're doing it. I love that they're confident about it, but let's be honest. Like there's going to be, well, they say 10, but really it's mathematically impossible to have 10 movies. So
you keep saying that. This is the third time you've said it's mathematically impossible to have 10. Explain the math, Jay.
I can't explain it, but someone has, and I remember it's like literally like a point, maybe a 1% chance for it to happen. It's just, I don't know why, but it's just not. So essentially 9 movies. In the whole year, there's going to be 9 better movies than Black Panther coming out. I'm telling you.
To people like you.
Yeah.
Right.
I know.
But to the people who spent, $140 million in like 2 weekends to go see Black Panther.
But also the people who actually go out to the movies and see the movies. That's where the popular movie comes out. I think this is part of it. It's like people are shelling out money to see certain movies. These $1 billion grosses. Shape of Water made maybe 40 million, not $1 billion. So, and that won Best Picture last year. So, think about it.
I wouldn't have let it win Best Picture.
I'm just saying,
Jay.
So, I think that's where the best pop film category is sort of trying to come into play because people are angry. It's like nobody wants to see a romance with a fish.
So then, I can.
That's what people say, and they're like, "What the fuck? Why do I want to watch this movie?"
So after best pop film, I could just shut the Oscars off, so I don't have to be pissed off. So I don't have to be mad.
Maybe.
Then I got my Oscars.
Maybe.
I got the Oscars I wanted.
Maybe. Hey, I don't know.
I got the Oscars. Look, I'm not saying Chadwick Boseman wins Best Actor. That's not what I'm saying.
They're trying, but the fact that this story got unleashed without them saying specifically the rules of these categories, this is a leaked story. It's not 100%. I mean, it's definitely 100%, but it's not 100% as far as like what the details are and the rules are behind these kind of categories. It might not even be 100% called pop film category. It could be called something else. We don't know exactly. There's not an official statement yet.
Well, then how can people lobby for their films to be nominated if they don't even know what category they want to be nominated in?
I don't know. We'll see. I really do think that in probably about a week or two, there's going to be some kind of announcement really just describing exactly what the hell is going on. But nobody's happy about it. Nobody in Hollywood's happy about it. It's fucking things up.
Right, because people asked for real change, and instead, like they didn't.
Different kind of change, but not that. Like that's what I'm saying. We need to know the rules of what this category is supposed to mean, and what kind of what kind of wheelhouse are we playing?
Again, I ask you, what are the rules now? You don't know the rules now. They're not going to tell you the new rules, Jay. All right, moving on. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 production is officially on hold indefinitely. And that doesn't mean now everyone hears indefinitely. I know they're always like, it means it's canceled. No, indefinitely just means they don't have a point in time when production will begin again. But they did
stress that in the headline.
They told cast and crew, you are free to take other jobs at this time. Your contract is being put on hold. When we can get everybody back, we'll get everybody back and we'll start again. And that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to wait until they have the creative person behind it to bring it to the screen. To me, it makes it seem like, even though we had stories that they were going to be using James Gunn's script, it sounds like they're not going to be using James Gunn's script. I don't think they want his name on it at all at this point. And I'm wondering if some of the problem with finding a replacement for James Gunn is some people are just not taking it. They just don't want to work with it out of principle. I'm wondering that. I'm wondering if there is a principle behind it that some people are saying no to it. We know that they've met with Taika Waititi recently, but that could be completely unrelated to this. They met with Edgar Wright. They met with several other people who were supposed to come in and possibly take it over. And I expected an announcement within like 2 or 3 weeks of the James Gunn firing. We're a month along now. Nothing. And instead, the news story we get is, everybody go home. We had you all in Atlanta. Hotel rooms paid for. Sets being built. Go home, guys.
They're trying to separate themselves from this story. Yeah.
Go home, guys. Everyone go home. Does Guardians 3 even happen? Could the Guardian stories be continued in other Marvel films? Yup.
Exactly. And I think maybe that's all it needs to do.
I think that's a smarter move for them, business-wise. You don't make a Guardians 3. It's too tainted at this point. It's leaving a sour taste in a lot of people's mouth. So don't do a Guardians 3. The Guardians can show up at any time in anyone else's movies. In another Thor movie, they could show up. They could show up in any Captain Marvel or Captain Marvel sequel.
Probably will play better that way, too.
It could, yeah. So, next news story.
Danny Boyle exited the latest James Bond movie over creative differences. Apparently, they're leaking saying that he wanted a certain particular actor playing a villain role, and Daniel Craig, being a producer and having the right to sign off on all of the castings, or most of the castings at least, wasn't on board with this kind of direction and this kind of guy. And
he was a foreign film actor,
and that was
I believe he was Finnish, Danish, something along those lines.
I don't recognize him.
Or maybe German. He's been in different, but I think what Danny Boyle liked about him was the look and what he brought to it. It was supposed to be.
He's got a decent look. I mean, It's just that I think at the final movie, Daniel Craig wants kind of a more interesting villain role or something.
To be fair, there's also the fact that a script already exists for this film, but Danny Boyle wasn't 100% signed on until he was finished penning his script, and he was only going to do it if his script was picked up anyway. And his script wasn't done yet. So he was in the middle of still doing his script. So he was going to probably walk away anyway as soon as someone started messing with his script. So it's not surprising. But Jay,
I'm really not. Honestly, I don't care, because I like Danny Boyle, but I'm so protective with this franchise for whatever reason. I just don't want. I didn't think he was a perfect fit for it. I thought he could have done an interesting take, but I don't think it was going to fit into the Daniel Craig universe.
Addendum to this story, Jay. Edgar Wright is now reportedly among the frontrunners to replace Danny Boyle as the director of Bond 25. What a 360 that is.
Yes, I know.
They are clearly going for a more lighthearted Bond this time around.
Also, like I said earlier, Jean-Marc Vallée, who just recently did Sharp Objects, was also in talks with it as well. But I think Edgar Wright is way more of an interesting pick. I think he's shown that he can do action. Yeah, obviously can do humor. And I think he has it in him to do some kind of more dramatic franchise role.
I think you'd wind up with a far different Bond than you had the last 4 times out. I'm not sure that I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
No, but I don't think an Edgar Wright
could
be different. But I don't think it's going to be.
I don't think an Edgar Wright film.
It won't be quite as mature.
I don't think an Edgar Wright film would please seasoned Bond fans. I don't think big Bond fans would enjoy a Edgar Wright version of the character, you might be getting closer, back to things like Moonraker at that point.
Well, that's
Bond 25 is Moonraker remade. Yes.
It's what Daniel Craig wanted all along.
That's what he's always wanted. That's what the creative differences were.
Yeah.
Danny Boyle just didn't want to do.
No.
Just didn't want to do Moonraker.
He just wanted to do a banal story. But
No, reportedly the story is going to be about Russians because we have
Cold War stuff, right?
Yeah, old Cold War stuff. Factions still exist secretly. Blah blah blah. I feel like every spy thriller is just like, who's gonna be the bad guys this time? Russians.
I wasn't too happy to hear that.
I feel like we did that last time. You know what? Russians, they're just good for being bad guys. Just, that guy. Yeah, that guy.
It better be a hell of a story. That's all I got to say.
Everyone knows Russians are bad. Final news story, Jay. J.J. Abrams casts one more actor for episode 9. Dominic Monaghan, who is a J.J. Abrams alum. He played Charlie in Lost.
Great actor. Absolutely.
I don't know if he's a great actor, but I like his face. Like,
from what I've seen,
I see him and I go like, oh, I like that guy.
Yeah, right. He's got something about him.
He fucking walked. He walked the woods. He stood on top of trees and Lord of the Rings.
He dated Evangeline Lilly. He's okay in my book.
Yeah,
he landed that.
That's true. For as awkward as a little,
it's an awkward pairing. Yes. But when you're trapped on Hawaii, filming Lost, shit's gonna happen.
Every time I see him, I think of like the second or third episode of Lost where Charlie is walking with them through the jungle. And did you watch Lost?
Oh yeah.
And he's, you are everybody. You are everybody.
You all everybody. You all everybody.
You never heard that song?
I've heard it. I just don't know what the
That's
hell.
us. Drive Shaft. Look, the ring. Second tour of Finland. You never heard of Drive Shaft?
The band.
Yeah, the band.
But he was perfect for that, right?
You are everybody. He was my favorite character in the show.
He sparked so much life and energy into it, and
not Penny's boat.
Yeah, that's all you have to say.
Not Penny's boat. Saddest episode ever. Not Penny's boat. Happy to see Dominic Monaghan still working.
I'm tearing up right now. Yeah, just remembering that scene.
Just happy to see him. Happy to see that J.J. Abrams doesn't forget people. He just brings everybody. In.
He missed his rent last month, so JJ's like, "I got you covered, buddy. You're in Star Wars."
All right, so that's gonna do it for us from news this week. Coming up next, me and Jay are just gonna drink some beers and talk about a movie scene, and then get on with the rest of the show. Just keep on keeping on.
Keep it on.
Welcome back to the beer segment. Before me and Jay get into this week's drunk scene and the 2 beers that we're going to be reviewing for you, we got to drop a line to our sponsor, Blowfish. Blowfish is the only FDA-approved hangover cure. 2 tablets, less than $1.25 per dose. You drop it into 8 to 12 ounces of water, wait for it to dissolve, drink it down, and the night before just fades away. So if you got incredibly drunk, said some things that you didn't mean to your friend, it won't fix that, but it will fix the pounding headache that you have.
It did for our vacation time, right, Dave?
Yeah, exactly. So make sure you head over to www.forhangovers.com. That's FORhangovers.com and use the promo code SMBFish for your 15% off. All right, Jay, the drunk scene that I got for us this week is not our average drunk scene. It is a non-drunk scene.
Hey, Warren! Is there anybody in this place you could vouch for to give me a ride home?
Fair lady, your chariot awaits.
You've been eavesdropping?
Eavesdropping and can't help it here. I think I belong in the latter category.
So, icy hot. You offering me a ride home?
I'm offering you a lift. If, when I'm ready to leave, you are too.
And when are you thinking about leaving?
Truthfully, I'm not thinking about it. When I do, you will be the first to know.
Will you be able to, drive later?
I know looks can be deceiving. But I'm a teetotaler.
I've been drinking club soda and lime all night, and now I'm building up to my big drink.
Which is what?
Virgin Pina Colada.
Okay. Why would someone who doesn't drink spend hours at a bar drinking water?
You know, a bar offers all kind of things other than alcohol.
Really? Like what?
Women. Nacho Grande platters. The fellowship of some fascinating individuals like Warren here. Alcohol is just a lubricant for all the individual encounters that a bar room offers.
Ooh, is that cowboy wisdom?
I'm not a cowboy, Pam. I'm a stuntman. But that's a very easy mistake to make.
How do you know my name?
When you were talking with Warren, couldn't help but overhear.
Fair enough. So what's your name, Icy?
Stunt Man Mike.
All right, so that is obviously from one of me and Jay's favorite Quentin Tarantino films.
Absolutely.
Quentin Tarantino's least favorite film, Death Proof.
Now, granted, she's drunk. She's getting drunk. She's sipping her girly drinks at the bar, and Kurt Russell's character is a non-drinker.
Yeah, he's prowling. He's prowling.
Yeah. Exactly.
I love it. 100%. Yeah, I love Kurt Russell. Like, I love Kurt Russell in this movie. It's
perfect.
Yeah, it's so perfectly done. He's so
twisted and unexpected in a lot of ways sometimes, especially in this sequence at the bar. He has some things that are in there that are
where you're
pretty
like,
wild.
or it's like, oh, this guy's not so bad. I'd hang out with him. And then, like, when he goes over and he does the poem, you know, I got miles.
But even before that, like the weird stuff with like the sneeze and like him just acting silly and like you could tell he's a nut job.
Yeah, I still love when he gets shot though.
Yeah.
Oh, God! Why? Yeah, I absolutely love the scene. Obviously, he's not getting drunk. Yeah, and that's kind of the fun of it. He talks about how like a bar room offers a lot of other things,
which is true.
There's food, there's people. It's just alcohol is the social lubricant, but that doesn't mean that everybody needs to be drinking to have a good time.
Absolutely, it's 100% right.
But me and you are drinking, Jay. So let's get into our beer reviews. What are you drinking this week?
I have Parallel 49's Trash Panda.
It's an awful beer.
Yeah, I'm struggling with this one because this has a different kind of piney, hazy. They're saying juicy hops, and I'm not really getting it. I'm getting a funky little flavor in there that I really despise that I get sometimes with IPAs, and I can't exactly put my nose on or my finger on exactly what it is or what particular hop it is, but it is something that just lingers a little too heavily with me that I do not like. This place is out of Canada, and I don't know exactly what town it is. Hold on. Vancouver. So
it's out of a little-known town, backwaters of Canada, called Vancouver.
Yes. Where they shoot most of Hollywood movies anymore.
Most of Hollywood movies anymore, yeah.
Between there and Atlanta.
And the Vancouver Canucks. All right, so
let me give you a grade real quick.
Oh, yeah.
It's 2.5 out of 5.
All right. That sounds just terrible, man. The way you describe it, though, I expect you to go much lower than that. 2.5 is like barely passing.
But it is. It's barely passing. It's not horrible.
Okay. I thought it was horrible. I would give it like a 1. Like I
didn't think it was that bad.
I bought that beer on Christina's recommendation like weeks ago, probably beginning of the summer, and I tried it and I fucking hated it. I wanted nothing to do with it. I don't even think I finished it. I didn't like it so much. So I am drinking the Relic Brewing Company out of Bradford, Connecticut. This is their M is for Mosaic IPA. It's obviously hopped with Mosaic hops. Go figure. It is 6.4% alcohol by volume. It is light, juicy, refreshing. It's just lacking a boldness. Like single hops tend to lack a boldness, though. I mean, that's kind of implied in the fact that they're made with one single type of hop profile.
So there's not too much coming up front. It's just an overall easy drink.
It's more juicy up front. Definitely, citrus juices up front. It's very even keeled. There is no big dry hop finish or anything like that. But it is nice to sip on. It is nice to drink. It's just not terribly bold, but it is good. Like, it does taste well. So I mean, I'm going to be giving it a 3.5 out of 5. Like, I'm cool with it. It's not bad. It's all right.
Very nice.
All right, so coming up next, me and Jay got to get into our top 5, which was suggested to us by one of our patrons. This time, we are going to be talking about the top 5 movie weapons. So stay tuned. So me and Jay are going to get into a top 5. This is a very special top 5 because it comes from one of our patrons. Me and Jay have had movie homework assignments assigned by other patrons. We had a new patron join recently, Niel Matz, and I asked him, what would you like us to do? And he said, how about a top 5 movie weapons? And I was like, my God.
Yes. It's actually great. It's really an interesting category, and I think you're going to love it way more than I did because initially I was a little hesitant. I'm like, oh, God.
So
I'm not a huge weapon guy.
I'll be honest. Like sci-fi weapons and stuff like that are like I love those like attention to details in films. It's one of the things that like Star Wars has done so well, and like other sci-fi franchises, like, you know, an iconic weapon that now I'm kicking myself because I don't think it's on my list. The gun in Blade Runner, like that fucking gun.
Yeah, no, that's legendary.
It's something
too.
as
Absolutely.
simple as like a pistol, but like if someone like pointed that at you, it'd be like, is that Deckard's gun?
My number
It's
one
like,
is a gun.
It's Deckard's gun,
but it's my most nostalgic one because I thought it was the only coolest gun in the world.
So before we get into our top 5 weapons, I do want to disclaimer. I did tell Jay, and, you know, I'll rule for myself. We all know lightsabers are the coolest movie weapon out there, period, bar none. There isn't a person out there who wouldn't love to hold a lightsaber. I would fucking mow my lawn with that lightsaber. I would just walk around slashing things, shit, everything. Cutting would be a breeze. I would sit there on an infomercial and I would be like, it slices, it dices, it literally cuts a car in half. Like, what else do you want it to do? It could do anything you want. So I kept lightsaber off the list because it's already the king, right?
Yeah.
We're picking.
Look, I knew, I was hoping you would say that.
Yeah. I'm not picking.
I was hoping you would say that.
Not picking lightsaber. So let's get started with you, Jay. What is the first cool movie weapon?
Okay, I am going to start off with the sonic shotgun from Minority Report.
I love that thing.
It is all right, think about it, everybody. Back in that time, what was that, 01, 04, or something like that? It was a little while
early
ago.
aughts, yeah.
And Spielberg, you know,
other than
has a lot of movies with some really cool weapons in it,
other
right?
than Ready Player One, like I would say like that was like my last like favorite Spielberg film.
Yeah.
Like really good
Spielberg
Spielberg
definitely
film.
one I watched the most, I think, for sure. I mean, it's one of my favorite cruise movies
Forgot to mention it. I bought Ready Player One. I've been rewatching that and
nice.
really enjoying that.
Oh, I'm sure
fucking
you have.
love that movie.
I'm happy for you.
I'm so good. I love that movie so much.
It's made for you.
It was made for me. It really was.
It better be. So it's used throughout. With many different kind of characters in this movie. I guess it's just the world that they use it. It's a non-invasive air boom of some kind of...
Well, right. And it makes sense for the world because a world without crime,
right? You
don't need to use lethal
You don't
weapons.
want to kill or hurt somebody. It's literally just the force of pushing somebody out of the way.
What I find cool about that is how they reload it.
But that's the thing. The flair of it all, the looks of the visual of the boom, but also the way they reload it. Yeah. And it's sexy and cool, and it the sound mixing.
It's
of
got
it
a
is
great
so fantastic.
sound effect like that.
Yeah, it's like a weird sound. I loved it. I just didn't get tired of it. And I really still enjoy it to this day.
All right, so my number 5, Jay, is Ball and Chain. Gogo Yabari, Kill Bill.
Hi.
I love when she shows up, hi, and she drops that ball down and whoosh. Dude, I love that fight scene. I love the way she uses that ball. I love that she presses a button and blades just come spinning out. That is a fucking cool ass weapon.
It really is.
That's one of those things.
And she utilizes it all over her body, arms, her neck, her legs.
That's what it is. Like, you put that in the hands of just like some big like monster who's just going to spin it in circles and bash you with it. It's less cool. But you put it in the hands of like a 17-year-old girl. That's part
it was
of the
such
Yakuza.
a fetish casting move by Quentin Tarantino.
and
oh
you,
my God.
And you have her go toe to toe with the bride like that. It's like, yeah, all right, yeah, that's a cool fucking weapon. That's really fucking cool.
It was really cool, and that's funny because it leads into my number 4, Dave, because it is the Hattori Hanzo sword from Kill Bill.
I know this is a ridiculous question before I ask it, but you haven't by any chance kept up with your swordplay.
I pawned that years ago.
You hawked a Hattori Hanzo sword. It was priceless.
Well, it fetched me about $200.
So this, right, $200, but like really, it's a priceless weapon.
Oh yeah, my favorite line is when he's handing her the sword and he says, this weapon is so magnificent. If on your journey you were to encounter God, it would cut him. Like, it's like, right. That's how he describes his own sword. Yeah. This is my most perfect weapon when he hands it to the bride.
I fell in love with it because the movie does that to you. It worships this sword, and throughout both movies and throughout multiple characters, it is almost like the defining thing in that.
It's kind of like Valerian steel in Game of Thrones.
Right.
Like,
no, it's true.
It's like, that's a Hattori Hanzo sword? No, I'm just going to give up. I'm done. Whatever. Fuck it. No, I'm not going to fight you.
But there's great little dialogue zingers referencing the sword. There's also obviously a lot of great action scenes and fight scenes with the sword. And, there's just so many aspects to it.
It slices, it dices, and it spanks 18-year-old boys on the butt. Go home to your mother. Stop playing with Yakuza.
Oh my God, I forgot all about that one. Yeah, that's true.
It spanks little boys.
Oh my God.
And it half caps people very well.
Very well.
So that's a great pick, the Hattori Hanzo sword.
I always loved that thing. That was badass.
All right, my number 4 is a shield. Captain America in all the MCU movies that he's in.
Of course.
What about this one?
No, that's just a prototype.
What's it made of?
Vibranium. It's stronger than steel and a third the weight. It's completely vibration absorbent.
How come it's not a standard issue?
That's the rarest metal on Earth. What you're holding there, that's all we've got.
You quite finished, Mr. Stark? I'm sure the captain has some unfinished business.
What do you think?
Come on, it defies.
I hear you.
I love when Spider-Man says it best in Civil War. That thing does not obey the laws of physics at all, does it? No, that's what makes it cool. It doesn't matter. It's a frisbee. It's just a frisbee. It's a giant frisbee, and he bashes people's. But like, they did have him start using it in like interesting ways, like at times. Like, so it wasn't just like something he threw and it bounced around and stuff like that. He does use it in more interesting ways at times. But I just love that weapon. I mean, and it's Captain America. It's like my favorite character. I mean, who goes into battle with a shield? Right? Like, you go into battle with a sword, you go into battle with guns, you go into battle with weapons. You don't go into battle that you wear on your left arm, with the thing that you wear on your left arm to protect you from other weapons and use it as a weapon, but he does. So that's my number 4. Such a cool thing. I think the way like it gets used in the film is also like, it's more powerful as a symbol than it is as a weapon too. Like that's the thing I like about it also, is it's not just a weapon. It is a symbol of the character and everything he stands for. And it's kind of sad watching Infinity War and him using those stupid, like, I don't like those, whatever he's using, those like shield gauntlet things. It's just not the same. It's just not the same.
I know, man. I understand.
All right, Jay, what's your next one?
The captive bolt gun from No Country for Old Men, played by, who uses it, Javier Bardem, the villain in that movie. He carries around that thing. The first part of the movie.
What is that for?
Will you hold still, please, sir?
And it's essentially a cattle gun, right? So it's a stun bolt gun used to, before you slaughter an animal, essentially. That's what they use it. They push it up against your forehead, they pull the trigger, boom. And it's, it's a bolt, a forceful strike right in the forehead, boom. It's a bolt. It kind of either unconsciouses or puts them unconscious, or it completely deteriorates your brain and fries it, and are essentially dead. So, it's been around for a while now. They still use it to this day, especially where the movie's set place.
I think what's cool about it is how he uses it, though.
But how he uses it, but also the sound of it, and the fact that you've never seen that before, ever.
Right. But also, not just like just putting creepy. It to people's skulls and stuff. Like, he pops locks with it. Like,
yeah. And even with the police officer, like, there's all kinds of scenes. Gosh, I mean, there's something haunting about it, though, that stuck with me to this day because it scares me. It's one of those things where the sound of it, the way he uses it, the way how he just carries it around, like, and people like that, they see those things all the time because people use them. It's nothing but farmland. They see cattle prods, not cattle prods, but like the stun gun and the cattle guns around all the time, where they could be just looking for parts. You never know.
It's probably more along the lines in a slaughterhouse more so than at the farmhouse.
Maybe. We'll see.
The whole point of the farmhouse is to keep the animals alive, to get them to the slaughterhouse.
Perhaps. But I thought it was really creepy, and it always stuck with me, and it's definitely a unique one that I put up on the list.
My number 3 is a chainsaw hand. Ashley J. Williams from Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn. Tell me that's not.
Have your fun with it, Dave. Come on.
That's such a fucking cool weapon, man. And it's not just in that movie. I mean, it's also in Army of Darkness, and then also in the 3 seasons of Ash versus the Evil Dead. The chainsaw arm, it's just so fucking cool, man. In tons of video games, like, a chainsaw is like the ultimate weapon to fight like dead people with, and to just incur gore and carnage. Like, that's why Texas Chainsaw Massacre was like so famous, right? Because like he used the chainsaw against people, but Ash, like, it was part of him. It was his hand. Like, after he cut off his hand, it became part of him. And I love that. I just love the way that the way that he uses it, especially in Army of Darkness, as he takes it into battle. Instead of carrying an Excalibur, man, he's got a fucking chainsaw hand. Evil Dead 2, like, just it's so good. I fucking love the chainsaw hand. And like, it's one of the things where, like, it goes on in like the most ridiculous of ways too, where like one guy like throws it to him in Army of Darkness, and he jumps up and he throws his fist up in the, or his stump up in the air, and it just lands on it and latches itself on. It's so good. I fucking love it. And he uses it all throughout Ash versus the Evil Dead as well.
Yeah.
Chainsaw hand is badass, man.
Yeah, it's certainly another unique one.
It occurs so much of blood and carnage.
Oh, just what you want in Evil Dead.
That's exactly what the Evil Dead was made for.
I'm sure that's high on Kim's list.
What do you got for your number 2?
We were talking about this before. Stunt Man Mike's stunt car.
Just let me out, please. And
hey, Pam! Remember when I said this car was death-proof? Well, that wasn't a lie. This car is 100% death-proof. Only to get the benefit of it, honey, you really need to be sitting in my seat.
Is that I guess it's a weapon.
It's his weapon.
I guess.
It's his weapon. And I'm trying to be unique on my list. I'm trying to be like a mixture of, I'm not trying to be as obvious, I think, as a lot of lists out there. If you go Google some stuff, I'm trying to be as unique and as personal as I can be. And my number 1 is going to be extremely controversial because it's
probably not a weapon.
No, it is. But anyway, this movie
Is it the man with the golden gun? Is it a golden gun, Jay?
No, my Bond pick is actually an honorable mention.
Yeah.
It's not even on my top 5.
It's the bowler hat, isn't it? All right, so yeah, I mean, a death-proof car is kind of a cool weapon, right? Like,
think about it. It is, especially for a stuntman. And you can do anything in that thing, kill anybody in that passenger seat, or kill anybody on the road and survive.
And the mystique around it is also like
and it's just sexy and dangerous looking,
and like the way like they marketed like that, where it's like this car is 100% death proof, but to really get that benefit, you gotta be sitting in my seat.
Yes, it's true. And you see it in all its gory detail. I had to put it on the list. I thought it was an out there kind of pick, but it's definitely worthy of remembering because the movie that we love has so many facets of it that are so enjoyable that you remember, that are memorable, but the car kind of takes a side character sometimes because there are a lot of fun little scenes and fun little zingers with the dialogue and action scenes, but the car itself is the ultimate weapon in the movie.
It's true. And even the girl's ultimate weapon because they know how to drive that Challenger that they drive in that, right? Like a person behind the wheel with skill.
And now they have the car at the very end of the movie.
And even like Baby Driver, like Baby Driver, like, you know, a car is his weapon. Like getaway driving is his weapon. So yeah, I'll go with that. Death proof. Yeah. All right. I was a little wary when you first started off, but you brought it home for me.
Thank you.
I mainly convinced myself. Of your pick. I justified your pick for you.
That sounds more like it. Thank you. Okay.
All right. My number 2 is a kangaroo leather bullwhip used by Indiana Jones in Raiders of the Lost Ark. And come on.
No, I'm happy you put that on there.
What adventurer? Like adventurer, right? Like you think like guys with guns, or like even if you think of like, you know, an archaeologist has no business having a bullwhip. There's no business for him to have a bullwhip whatsoever. There's never been an archaeological adventure in the history of the world where a guy goes, God damn it, I can't get this fossil out. I could if I had my bullwhip. Just let me bring my bullwhip. I could totally get that fossil out of the ground.
Whose idea was it anyway? Was it Spielberg?
Did
you ever look that up?
I don't
know.
It's just, you have to
It's fascinating.
When you do a serial type story like that, you have to give them something that is memorable to the character. Hence, like, fedora, bullwhip, right? Like that's the type of character he is, because it's not usual. It's unusual. And I love.
Yet it's cool in the fact that
it's so cool. Like, and I love the way he uses it throughout like all the films. Right? It's not just a weapon; it's a multi-purpose tool. It's a Swiss Army knife, right? Like he swings from it. He grabs people by the leg and trips them. Sometimes he just whips them with it. You know, sometimes it's just the fact that he pulls it out and people shit when they see it, right? Because it's a bullwhip. That shit hurts. That's corporal punishment. Like that's what Indiana Jones is doing. He's running around the 1930s just doling out corporate punishment. And then, of course, like in The Last Crusade, they have to explain how he gets the bullwhip, right? Because it's so unusual. It's like, why does this guy use a bullwhip? And it's like, oh, well, he got it from a lion tamer's cage on a train when he's being chased by guys. And he kept it? Yeah. And he learned how to use it? Sure. Why not?
For everything.
Wouldn't you? You found a whip somewhere? Wouldn't you just carry a whip around everywhere?
You know what's so great about the whip, too? The length of it changes throughout the movie as well.
Yeah, I think
which is fun.
I think it's like 8 or 10 feet, like the actual whip that hangs on his belt. But like when he needs it to be 20, it can be 20. Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Or like 6, just an easy wrap up and put it back in his pocket.
Yeah, exactly. But I love, he uses it on Willie in Temple of Doom to like bring her in for the kiss.
Sure.
It's the ultimate. It's the ultimate tool.
I'm sure he got laid after that.
He got laid before that, Jack. Indiana Jones doesn't need a bullwhip to get laid.
Yeah,
all right,
I'm just saying.
It's just an accessory.
Yeah,
it's like bringing toys to the bedroom. It shouldn't make you feel ashamed of yourself. It's just there to enhance.
No.
All right, Jay, what's your number 1? Oh, well, unless you got honorable mentions you want to go through.
First? You want to do honorable mentions before honorable ones?
Go honorable mentions first.
Okay. Well, I will bring up the Bond vehicle, the Aston Martin DB5. it was featured in Goldfinger, Thunderball, GoldenEye, Skyfall, and Spectre. It had...
That's the one with the ejector seat, the fucking rockets in the front of it, the machine guns that come out of the fenders.
Exactly. And that's all. That's it. And it's sexy as shit. It's just it's the perfect car. It's the perfect car, other than the Death Proof car, obviously, where it is just a marriage of what you would want a spy car to be. It's just sexy, cool, and has the fun little bells and whistles to it, and a lot of fun sequences in those movies with the vehicle. And goddamn, I just love the thing. And I had to pay a little homage to Mr. Bond himself, because all of his other gadgets, as many as there are, I mean, there are a lot of cool little ones, but like, you know, cigarette little darts and like, you know, like stupid little stuff like that. Back in the day, you can kind of see it. It's like, oh, you know what? I can see that happening. Oh, that'd be kind of useful. Blah, blah, blah. You know, but it's still so corny where like, it just doesn't stand the test of time for me.
It does when you play it for grins like you do in the Kingsman series, right? Like,
okay. Yes.
So I like a lot of those weapons and stuff like that. So I guess that's like an honorable mention for me. Which one? I guess I would choose the umbrella. Like the umbrella that like fires projectiles from it.
That's their,
and like shit.
That's their big selling point.
That one's fucking cool. Do you have any other honorable mentions?
The noisy cricket from Men in Black.
Yeah. I mean, that's...
I kind of had to put it out there.
Okay, no, come on, man. You get a series 4, the atomizer, I get a little midget cricket. Oh, I feel like I'm gonna break this damn thing.
It's funny. It's funny, and it was fun in the movie.
Series 4, the atomizer. Noisy cricket.
And the thing is like half of a palm size. It's so tiny. And Will Smith has such a great time with it. And it played for kicks, even throughout the whole movie, from the whole final act when he first was given the gun. Even before that, actually, when he saw the gun, he's like, whoa, don't touch that gun.
Yeah. It's like,
you touch anything else here, but not that gun. He's like, really?
Careful with that slick.
And you don't get back to the gun until like later on in the movie, and then you see it in all its, you know, all its power and detail, and it was just fun, and it was very memorable. It's the most memorable gun in the movie. I mean, as soon as you see that thing, you know exactly where that's from. You know, Men in Black, and that's a popular movie out there, Dave. We still enjoy it to this day, and they're filming it as we speak. The revamp with Tessa Thompson and Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, absolutely. Noisy Cricket definitely fits on this list. It's memorable enough. So for me, I got quite a few. I will pay a little bit of homage to Bond for you.
Thank you.
Odd Jobs bowler hat. What a unique weapon, right? Like a bowler hat.
Sure.
There
was a lot of fun. That's a lot of fun.
It is. The only thing that like bothered me was you didn't get to use it in N64's GoldenEye. You couldn't take off the bowler hat and chuck it at people, right? You could slap people though, but you couldn't throw the bowler hat. But Odd Jobs
statues off. You know,
yeah, it's like
crazy stuff. It's like, what? Really? Okay.
You don't quite understand the
it's like
physics or the
I was actually
it.
thinking about putting Jaws' mouth.
That's not a weapon.
I know, but like
it's a force of nature.
I know. But I just always found that funny.
All right, and then obviously the Blade Runner gun from Blade Runner, because those guns are fucking cool looking. They are really cool. Judge Dredd's gun.
What are you doing? You hear what I said? I'll kill the bitch!
Yeah, I heard you, hot shot.
What?
I said, hot shot.
Because the cool thing about Dredd's gun is it is a gun, and it does everything that a gun does, but incendiary rounds. And then you could shoot incendiary rounds, right? Like SOS, and you could fire a signal flare.
Sure.
Or automatic 9mm shotgun.
It's fucking hot.
Yeah, like you can just say what the type that you want.
I can't even remember. Did he ever reload, or was it always just
no? He
it was all just in there.
He reloads in it, and the fact is, like, there's actually a bullet count for each of the on the side of the gun has a little display out there. There's a bullet count for each of the modes.
Now I remember. Yep.
So like he actually runs out of bullets at some point and has to steal someone else's.
That is fucking cool.
Yeah,
that is cool. That should be on my list. Yeah,
that's an awesome gun.
It's
cooler in Dredd than it is in Judge Dredd, but it's still cool to have that at your fingertips. And then my final one is Thor's hammer, but not Mjolnir, not the one from all the other from all the Thor movies. I'm talking about Stormbreaker in Avengers Infinity War. because the way he shows up using Stormbreaker and the way he throws that and it just like spins around, the way it comes back, and I love the way he throws it and it goes all the way through Thanos' blast and buries deep in Thanos' chest. And that's such a badass weapon.
And just when he comes on that screen,
and it's so cool
because score and everything like that, and like he comes out and that thing is whipping around like crazy, just destroying everything and being cool and looking cool and just
the only thing I don't like about that scene is Mark Ruffalo in the armor. Like you could, it's so bad looking.
The comedic relief,
but not only that, like his head, like
his head
almost looks like it's like floating in there, and it's like it just wasn't solid enough for me. But I don't know, like just the hammer itself is cool, and it's unique because you get to actually see it being made too, right? Like part of the movie is the forging of it.
Thank you, Peter Dinklage.
I love that, and then obviously lightsabers, which we're keeping off of our list because that would just trump everything. You ready to get into your number one, Jay?
I am.
All right, what's your number one, man?
The sexiest weapon of all time to me, and badass. The custom Springfield M1 911 A1 weapon of choice by Castor Troy, played by Nicolas Cage in Face Off.
I never really enjoyed the Messiah. In fact, I think it's fucking boring. But your voice makes even a hack like Handel seem like a genius. Hallelujah! Hallelujah!
What? Goddamn right.
That's so weird.
Yes. Take a look at this fucking picture. Oh, look at that. The dual gold guns in the back holster.
It's such a weird pic.
I told you it was gonna be weird.
That's so specific.
And the way he like just worships these fucking guns and they're the sexiest looking things in the world.
I did jokingly say that you were going to I jokingly said you were gonna pick the man with the golden gun, but I was wrong. You picked a man with two golden guns.
Dude, I'm telling you, I was obsessed with those guns and the way they looked, and I just thought they were that is the gun. If I was ever gonna have a gun, that would be the gun. It reminds me so much of that stupid Leonardo DiCaprio Romeo and Juliet movie, with like the Capulets and they got the fancy guns.
It says foil down the side of the gun because in the play they pull their foils, which are a type of sword.
Right. Oh, okay.
For fencing.
Sure.
But instead
in the modern day, they're doing their guns. But they were pretty sexy looking and they reminded me a lot of that gun as well. But the gun battles, it's so cheesy. It's 90s.
Okay, when people go to guns,
it's
like
so fun.
Like some
people, so cool looking, so sexy.
Some people would say, like,
nah, for me, that's all I need.
Jesse Ventura's gun in Predator, the minigun.
I love the flamboyant cockiness of his role and the character, and it just fit
the 44 caliber Magnum.
The way it looked in the back, it was just
Dirty Harry's 44 caliber Magnum.
No,
but for you,
that Magnum. That gun is corny as shit. Shut up. Those dual guns, I'm telling you, rewatch that movie, Google it, do whatever you want. Take a look at that thing. It is the most sexy thing you'll ever see. And I hate guns. I hate weapons. But those two are all I want. It's all I want.
How much for the gun? Not for sale. Okay, how much for the arm? Oh, I'll get that arm.
I'm going to get that arm.
Try and top that, Dave. What's your number one?
Can Winter Soldier's arm be a weapon? Does that count? Like his arm?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't do anything other than just being a super strong arm. But,
I know. But,
No, Jay, I do have you topped for my number one.
All right, let's see it.
My number one is an unlicensed nuclear accelerator that is worn on the backs of the 4 Ghostbusters. It's the proton pack.
Okay, Ray, give me one eye outside.
Okay, all right. Oh, nice shooting, Tex.
How can you not? Dude, that's such an awesome fucking weapon. Well, each one of us is wearing an unlicensed nuclear accelerator on our back. Wish I had time to test it. Switch me on. Egon steps back and turns him on and gets all the way in the corner.
All right, Dave, I'll give you that.
It's a weapon of wanton destruction. Like,
yes,
they clearly can't use them. And it doesn't throw like a straight beam or anything like that. It's all over the fucking place.
No, it
just burns everything in its path. It's literally only meant for lassoing ectoplasm.
It's whipping around like a lasso, a fish out of water, some bullshit, like everywhere.
Yeah, that is just one of the coolest weapons.
Oh, it is.
Me.
No, I give you that. It's so unique,
and it's so
different.
iconic, right? Like
completely iconic.
Anyone,
I mean, you did that for Halloween 2 years ago.
Yeah. I did a proton pack, and I did a my
Even
my
with
own
your daughter,
version.
correct? Right?
Yeah, I did my own version of like a modern, like Ghostbusters outfit and stuff like that, with like a jacket and stuff like that.
It was pretty badass.
Had the proton pack and everything. Had the goggles.
Yeah.
But God, the proton pack is just it's so unique. Like, where the fuck did they come up with that?
I don't know.
And like, you know how dangerous it is because you can't cross the streams.
I did that. That's my fault. It's okay. The table broke the fall.
There's something very important I forgot to tell you.
What?
Don't cross the streams.
Why?
It would be bad.
I'm fuzzy on the whole good-bad thing. What do you mean bad?
Try to imagine all life as you know it stopping instantaneously and every molecule in your body exploding at the speed of light.
Total protonic reversal.
All right, that's bad. Okay. All right, important safety tip. Thanks, Egon.
Because
you can't cross the stream.
Because you have to worry about total protonic reversal.
Yeah, that's all.
Okay, that sounds bad.
Oh gosh.
It's the ultimate weapon for busting ghosts. I don't know what other practical applications it has, but it's certainly cool. It's certainly iconic.
Other than it's probably metal that they're holding. Some rubber.
It's awesome. I just love that weapon so much.
No, I give you that. That's fantastic.
It beats 2 twin golden pistols, Jay, any day.
Yeah. I'd rather have the pistols.
Aim for the flat top. So that's going to do it.
Thank you, Neil. This was a fun category. Yeah, we appreciate it. Yeah, this is some of the fun we get to have now with our Patreons.
Yeah, absolutely. So let us know what your favorite film weapons are. Head over to Twitter. Follow us at Super Movie Pod. Let us know what you think are the top 5 movie weapons. You can also help us choose top 5s like this to do, just like Neil did, by going over to www.patreon.com/supermoviebros podcast on there. Join the Patreon and give us suggestions for movie homeworks and top 5s. Jay, where can everyone find you?
Well, you can find me on Facebook as Super Movie Bros Podcast and also on Instagram, Super Movie Bros Beer. I am throwing up a lot of our beer reviews as well as just fun little zingers, little artwork, different kind of things. But just check us out on there. You can reach me out there anytime. I'll respond to you anytime and we can have a little dialogue.
Absolutely. And then like I said at the beginning of the show, I got to record an episode of Who Spiked the Puns with John while Fuzzy was away. So make sure you check out Who Spiked the Puns over at www.whospikethepuns.com. You can check out all the great Podfix shows by going over to www.podfixnetwork.com or following them on Twitter at Podfix Network on there. You can also make sure that you never have to deal with a hangover ever again by going over to www.forhangovers.com, FOR hangovers.com, and we give you 15% off with our promo code SMBFish. I really want to thank everybody for listening tonight. Have a great night. Cheers.